Good day. In this video we are going to do the Released SOL 2010, and this is actually going to be broken up into a couple of different videos. So in this one you'll see us do questions 1 through 10. So let's get started. Now for question number 1, I'm going to solve this one 2 different ways. The first way is your traditional way, just purely algebraic. So I'm going to go ahead and bring down my equal sign. And in the first step, we're going to apply our distributive property. So we're going to have 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 15 is 45. And we still have that minus 6x. And negative 6 times x is negative 6x, and negative 6 times negative 3 is positive 18. Now in our next step, we're going to combine like terms. So positive 3x and negative 6x gives us negative 3x. And we don't have any terms to combine on the right-hand side. Now we're going to go ahead and bring our variables over to one side and our numbers over to the other side. So let's go ahead and add 6x to both sides. And negative 3x plus 6x is 3x. And then let's go ahead and subtract 45 on both sides. Now let me go ahead and stop right here for 1 second. Now some people may wonder, why did I choose to add 6x to both sides versus maybe adding 3x to both sides? You could have done it either way. I just chose to add the 6x because I was really trying to avoid getting a negative coefficient for my x. So let's go ahead and finish this. 18 minus 45 is negative 27. And divide both sides by 3. And we get our final answer of x equals 9. So our answer is choice A. Now, I want to show you how to do this 2 other ways. So for the second method, for still question number 1, let's go ahead and put this into the calculator. So I'm going to put the left-hand side into y1. And honestly, sometimes it's easier or faster also for me to solve it the traditional way, because it takes me a little while to get this typed in. So that is our left-hand side, and I'm just verifying I typed it in correctly. Now I'm going to type the right-hand side into y2. And please make sure you use the negative key for this. So this is negative 6 times x minus 3. Now what we're looking to see is, well, the value that's going to actually make this equation true is going to be the value that's going to give us the same number if we substitute it in for the x's on both sides. So what I'm going to do is, because I'm really only looking at negative 9, negative 6, 2, and 3, I'm going to go ahead to my table setup, which is second window, second table set, and I'm going to tell the calculator, you know what, ask me what x values we should plug in. So I'm going to set it to ask. Now when I go to the table, I get to plug in whatever x values I want. So let's plug in the first one, which is negative 9. And notice what happens. When negative 9 gets plugged in, we get the same exact value for the left-hand side and the right-hand side. So guess what that means? That means choice A is our correct answer. Now, there's another way we can do this as well, but still using the equation. So I'm going to go ahead here to our next method. Now, what you could do as well is you can say, look, the solution is going to be where these two lines intersect. So we could go to second, calculate, and I want to calculate the intersection, which is number 5. And we have to give it a second to graph. And right now it's asking, is this our first curve? Yes, it is. That's the left-hand side. Now it's asking us, is this our second curve? -6 times x minus 3. Yes, it is. Do you want to guess? No, I don't want to guess. Thank you for asking. And my intersection is at x is equal to -9, and the y coordinate would be 72. But just know right here, the only thing we're looking for is the x coordinate. So we also get our answer another way, just using intersection. It is up to you which method you want to choose to do number 1. Now let's move on to question number 2. Question number 2 is asking us which describes the graph of g of x is equal to -3x plus 5. Don't let that g of x scare you. G of x is the same as us saying f of x. And you're used to writing your slope-intercept form of a line as y equals. So we could go ahead and write this as y equals if you like. But basically it comes down to our slope is the coefficient of x, and our y-intercept is the number by itself. If you're more comfortable writing this, g of x is just y equals, that's fine. And I'm going to go ahead and write my y equals to x plus b right underneath. And here I see that my slope is -3. And my y-intercept is 5. Now we just have to look for the choice that actually says this. So our slope is -3 and our y-intercept is 5. Looks like that is choice G. Now moving on to number 3. Now for this one, what is most likely the slope of the line graphed on the coordinate plane? Now for this question, I know on one of the other videos I showed you one of my favorite websites, which is regentsprep.org, but I want to go there really fast right now. I already have it open. And this is Skibird, and Skibird really does help with a number of slope questions. Let's just look at this real quick. Now, if Skibird is going uphill, our slope is going to be positive. If Skibird is going downhill, our slope is going to be negative. If Skibird is not going anywhere, I mean, it's just a flat surface, this is your horizontal line, and this is a 0 slope. And I just want to emphasize that Z, horizontal is your 0 slope. And then here is Skibird and our undefined slope. Now notice right now, hey, Skibird is going down a vertical hill, and this is your undefined. And the reason it's really undefined is this hill is so incredibly steep, we can't even define it. So your vertical line is your undefined. Now let's go back to the problem. Now this is saying which is most likely the slope of the line graphed on this coordinate plane. Notice that this is our vertical line, and we just saw from Skibird that a vertical line has an undefined slope. And again, this website is regentsprep.org. Excellent resource. So our answer for number 3 is choice D. Now, for number 4, I'm going to solve this one 2 different ways as well. First, I'm going to solve it our traditional way, and I'm going to solve it algebraically using elimination. Now, with the elimination method, the whole idea behind that is I can't solve for x and y at the same time. I need to just focus in on one of the variables and eliminate the other one, solve, and then once I get that first variable, I could go ahead and substitute in to find the second one. So let's actually see what that looks like. Now, if I'm choosing a variable to eliminate, I'm always going to go for the variable that looks the easiest to get rid of. And in eliminating a variable, you have to make sure that the coefficients are actually the same, but opposite signs. This way, when you add down, you actually get 0. It drops out. It's eliminated. So therefore, what I want is I want to put a -2 in front of the x. But if I'm going to put a -2 in front of the x, every single term in that second equation also has to be multiplied by -2. So we'll have the 2x minus 7y equals 0 stays the same. And let's go ahead and distribute. 2 times x is -2x. Then 2 times -6y is positive 12y. And -2 times -5 is positive 10. Notice I drew my arrows because sometimes I also make the mistake of not distributing through to every single term. And actually drawing those arrows, just make sure that I actually do that. Now, positive 2x and -2x are going to drop out. That's a good thing here. But let's go ahead and start with the right-hand side. 0 plus 10 is 10. -7y plus 12y is 5y. And this is called elimination because positive 2, -2, hey, it's eliminated. It's gone. And that's a big old E I just drew there. Now just divide both sides by 5, and you can see here that y is equal to 2. And the only choice is actually here that has a y coordinate of 2 is choice F. So I already know my answer is choice F. But I'm going to go ahead and just show you the next step. How would I get x is equal to 4? So at this step, I call it my plug it in step. And just think of this as an outlet. It does not matter whether you plug into the top outlet or the bottom outlet. You're still going to get out what you want, which is x. And those are outlets that I just drew. Now, top equation, bottom equation, I'll plug it into the top. And what did we find y to be? We found y to be 2. So we have 2x minus 7 times 2 is equal to 0. So that's 2x minus 14 is equal to 0. So I think right here, we don't necessarily need to add 14 to both sides. I think some of you may see, well, 2 times what number? Minus 14 gives me 0. Well, it has to be 7. But if you want to see it worked all the way out, I can go ahead and add the 14 to both sides. So 2x is equal to 14. Divide both sides by 2. And we get x is equal to 7. Now just be careful when you actually write your final answer. They have choice G there just waiting for me. Just thinking I would choose choice 7 because I found 2 and then I found 7. But just remember, it's always alphabetical order. The x coordinate goes first, the y coordinate goes second, so that's why answer is choice F. Do not fall into that trap for choice G. Now, the other way that you can do this on the SOL is you can just plug the numbers in. So let's actually just do that real fast. And you can do store if you like. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's store some numbers in here. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and store in. For my x, I'm storing 7. For my y, I'm storing 2. And traditionally, I just usually start with the first choice. So to store in a number, you push the number first, push store. Then I have to locate my x, and my x is located actually above the store button. And go ahead and push enter. And now I'm going to go ahead and store in 2 for y. So push the 2 first. And then my y is located above the 1, and I then push store. So it's 2, then store, and then my y. And then now I'm just going to type in 2x minus 7y equals 0. And sometimes this method does take a little longer at times, but you have all the time that you need. Now I'm going to see if this gives me 0, and it does. So now I'm going to type in the bottom. to see if I get -5. And it might be a little faster if I actually type on board.
Flores, please come to the main office. Maria Candace Flores, please come to the main office.
And we wanted -5, and it looks like this is our answer choice. So it worked, and we're done with number 4. Now let's go ahead and look at number 5. What is the solution to the following inequality? Now we're going to go ahead and distribute to 3. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times -3 is -9. Now we're going to go ahead and add 9 to both sides. So we get 3x is less than or equal to 12. And divide both sides by 3. Now at this step, you should say to yourself, okay, now what is it that we have to look out for again for inequalities? So when you're solving inequalities, if you multiply or divide both sides by a negative, the direction of your inequality is going to reverse. Well, here, because we're just dividing both sides by a +3, the direction of my inequality sign is actually going to remain the same. 3's cancel, so x is less than or equal to 4, which is choice C. All right? Now, looking at question 6, which equation best models line N? Now, if you're having trouble remembering, well, is it the vertical line that's an x equals equation, or is it the horizontal line that's the x equals equation? I tell you what, just type it in. Now, if I just type in choice G, which is y equals 8, that'll answer my question as to which one is vertical and which one is horizontal. So when I type in y equals 8, okay, and this is what I can do. I can write a note for myself on my test. I can say, okay, y equals is the horizontal line. So y equals is horizontal. Which means that an x equals equation will be my vertical line. And because N is a vertical line, I'm looking for an x equals equation, which leaves me with my answer has to be choice F. And moving along, I think we have number 7 on this page. Here we go for number 7. Oh, which quadratic equation has solutions of 5 and 7? Now, we can go ahead and store in 5 for our x, and we can then store in 7 for x and see what works. Or another option we have is, because all of our answer choices are equal to 0, we can just type these into the calculator and see which one of these crosses the x-axis at 5 and 7. There's so many different ways they can ask us about number 5. You can be asked, well, which quadratic equation has x-intercepts of 5 and 7. They can also ask you which quadratic equation has zeros of 5 and 7. So this word here, they can ask you x-intercepts. They can ask you zeros, or they can ask you even roots. Bottom line is, it comes down to which one of those equations crosses the x-axis at 5 and 7. So I'm just going to go ahead and type them in and see what happens. So we're going to go ahead to y equals, clear this out, and let's type in x squared minus 5x I am just double clicking here, sorry, I apologize. And now we hit graph, and choice A crosses the x-axis at, well, it's not 5 and 7, it crosses at 0. So I know choice A is not my answer. So I'm going to go back in here, and type in choice B, which is 2x minus 35. And we go ahead and hit graph. Now this one looks like it crosses, one is a negative, one of the roots is negative, and the other root is positive. Hey, I'm looking for two positive roots here. I'm looking for two positive solutions. So my answer is not choice B. Now let's check out choice C. So that's going to be 3x minus 28. Again, it crosses at a negative and at a positive. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at choice D. So that's going to be 12x plus 35. And let's hit graph. And, well, this one looks like it crosses at 7 and 5. Now let's verify that. Let's actually look on our table and see if it actually gives us values of 0, 5, and 7. Now remember, in a previous problem I set this to ask, so I actually have to type in my numbers now. 5. If x is 5, I get 0. Great. And if x is 7, I also get 0. Great. So I just needed to verify. But we saw that from the graph. Okay? Now let's move on to number 8. Now number 8, which graph best represents this equation? This is another problem where I honestly always look to ski-bird. Now just remember with ski-bird, just remember this visual here. Alright, a positive slope ski-bird is going uphill, a negative slope ski-bird is going downhill. So in number 8, because your slope is positive, y equals mx plus b, we see that our slope is 3/4, which is positive. That means our line has to go up. So our answer cannot be choice G. And our answer cannot be choice J. That was just based on ski-bird. Hey, I eliminated 2 choices. Now the question is the answer choice F or is it choice H? Now our y-intercept is -2, and it looks like choice F and H both have y-intercepts of -2. So it looks like I'm going to have to count my rise over my run to see which one has the slope of 3/4. So I'm going to start here, and now I'm going to go up 3, 1, 2, 3, right 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I end up on the line. So my answer is choice F, but we could go ahead and just double check and make sure it wasn't H. For H, start at 3, go up 3, 1, 2, 3, right 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice I do not end up on that line when I do 3 over up 3, right 4, so therefore yes, my answer was choice F. Now, number 9. This is a graph of a system of linear equations, and based upon a graph, which is the apparent solution to the system of equations? This one is just very simple. Your solution is at the point of intersection. Okay, so here's our solution. Our x-coordinate is 4, and our y-coordinate is 3. So our answer is choice C. And the last one we're going to do in this particular tape is number 10, which is an example of the distributive property. Now first, for distributive property, you're not going to have parentheses on both sides. So we're going to eliminate choice J. So when I distribute, I actually get rid of the parentheses. And then choices F and H, neither one of them have parentheses, so I guess it looks like it's choice G, but let's just check that. 5 times x is 5x. 5 times 2 is positive 10. So it looks like our answer is choice G. And check that for questions 11 through 20. Have a good day. Bye-bye.